Hi and welcome to another OmniEffect presentation. Today we're going to have a look at OmniEffect Client and an example Flex 2 application called Dashboard. But first, let's have a look at Dashboard and see what that's about. You can access the dashboard by opening up your web browser and going to the dashboard URL. Here we see some charts and it's a grid. We can select aspects of the charts and we can see change. This is common to most Flex applications where there's no refresh of the browser. The application simply changes just as if it was a desktop application. So I've got a lot of functionality that I can enjoy without refreshing the browser. New to Flex is the ability to communicate real-time messaging between applications. Here I'll create another version of this application by creating a second browser. If I move the browsers apart so we can see the change and select an item within the application, we note that on the first window there's a change. If I select this region, you note that the chart changes on my application, but that message was also communicated through to the first web browser that I opened. That's all very good. Let's take a look at what OmniEffect Client's about. So essentially we want to jump out of this browser. To do that, I need only provide an extension to the existing URL, JNLP. This essentially invokes the Java Web Start protocol. Java has already been deployed on my desktop. I have enough elements of Java to now be able to run this application in its own right without the browser. As you can see, the client has been deployed to us and the application immediately starts. So I can get rid of the old web browser. Now I can enjoy this desktop application as a real desktop application within its own window, its own threading model and its own memory model. It does exactly the same things, no change, and it was deployed on the fly with zero footprint. So I'm getting the best of both worlds, a desktop-like application with a rich internet interface, human and usable. Now let's explore this OE client a little further. One of the key aspects to OE client and behaving like a desktop is that I can launch it from an icon. The Java Web Start allows me to launch from an icon from the desktop. As you see, it's loading and now presenting the client to me. Another key feature is the Resize ability, so I can have this straight full screen or minimize to the tray, or I could hide from the tray and just have an icon in the toolbar. I can then show this application again and resize it and bring it back to its restored state. Another interesting aspect is that I might not have one multiple state. I can run another instance of this application. So here it is again, start it up. So this is not a browser application. To demonstrate, I'll set it transparent. Never before have we seen a desktop Flash application interact this way. As you can see, I've got my first application open on the bottom and I've got a new one on the top. So I can simply select and see the effect, but more dramatic this time because it's transparent. So I can resize that to a state where I can see all of the changes. Other aspects of the client are that not only does it have transparency, but it has full interaction with the desktop. So I can drag drop elements into it and create new file references within Flash. The Flash player can communicate externally to the desktop client, communicating either through icon toolbar or any secured aspect of the desktop. The primary purpose of the client is to offer us online and offline capability, real-time messaging, and the ability to have a desktop icon launchable application, so as to give the illusion to the user that this is a real desktop application, not something that's running within the browser. So I can simply double click on an icon and launch once more. Other features of the OmniEffect client is its ability to embed within other applications such as StarOffice or OpenOffice, and to embed the other way. So I can have not only just a tab with the OmniEffect client installed inside of it, but I can simply have another application running in its own space of the client. So I could have Excel, PDF, HTML browser, whatever I choose as an embeddable item. The OmniEffect client has its own scripting engine. It has two forms, one called BeanShell and the other is JavaScript. So the client has full communication and very similar power to a web browser, but it's got a very light footprint. So it's sub 1 meg in size to be able to deploy to the client. It runs on the Mac and runs on PC. So it is an excellent device for deploying large-scale desktop applications built on the Flex framework and give the illusion that it is a desktop application. Anyway, thanks for listening, and hope this has provided a little bit more information about OmniEffect's client.